Hello YouTube Pipers, Double O Pipe here, aka Rick. When I went away because of the hurricane, I came back home and left all my favorite pipe stuff at my place to stay. So I've been looking around trying to find a pipe that would make the tobacco taste good. This one says Brigham. Just got some numbers on it after that. Nope, didn't work. This one, Medico Ebony. No, Medico Ivory. Oops. Nope. Tobacco didn't taste right in that. So this time I'm trying this. Now I'm not quite sure what this is. I saw it online when I was first looking at pipes and just caught my eye and I bought it. Now on the side, it's kind of hard to read, but it looks like Farinelli. Don't know what that is. But I've got velvet in it because all my Carter Hall's up in Goose Creek, where I stayed during the hurricane, if you want to call it that. I believe it was a bit overhyped. My lighter, I left it. That's a little too close to my nose. So I'm not sure, and I'm too keen on that shank and stem. The way it looks, the brim of my hat's going to get caught on fire. It isn't easy to light. Now that's velvet in this pipe. But it doesn't taste like velvet. Now I tried that match. Match Carter Hall. And that was a bit raw. It tore at the tissue up the back of my throat and in my nose. So that's nowhere near my Carter Hall. So I think this is 3 pipes I'm going to set aside. Because like I say, this is a little too close to my nose. Plus I don't get the flavor of velvet. So I don't know what it is about these pipes, but maybe my Bing's favorite was broken in just enough because I smoked it so many times. Well, with this hurricane that turned into a tropical storm when it got to us, they hyped it. We were going to get 20 inches of rain. It was going to come during a king tide, as they call it, because it's an extra high tide. Plus, the ocean was going to be rushing into the rivers and causing more water to come into our area. Now, I've been here when that actually happened, and that's when it came up to the threshold, right here at the door. So, excuse me, in order for, I was concerned for Hunter because he'd have to swim out there and pee in the water and poop in the water because it would be too high. So I said, well, I'll get in touch with my friend in Goose Creek and see if it'll be okay if we come stay during this hurricane, which was supposed to stay here from Tuesday through today, actually. Or that was what they were. They always put the fear into you. And since I've been through these floods, if it had just been me, I think I'd have stayed. Because I could have parked the car out on the road, and the higher it got, I could have waited out to the car and then left. But I just wasn't going to take a chance for Hunter. Wouldn't be right to do him like that. So, Monday afternoon, I packed the car and we took off because it was supposed to come in on Tuesday. And I didn't want to get caught in the heavy rains. Well, it wasn't really raining when I left here. But when I got up the road on the interstate, it just began to pour. You could barely see the front of the hood. And everybody was doing like 30 miles an hour in a 65 to 70 mile an hour zone. So I was thinking to myself, boy, that was a smart idea leaving this early. Well, we got there and I unpacked the car in the rain. Got seated in a chair and the rain just kind of died down to a drizzle. When I woke up Tuesday, the sky wasn't clear and blue, but the cloud cover was so thin that the sun's light was coming through, so it was almost as if the sun were shining. And maybe sprinkled once every hour or two. Nothing like the water they say was going to pour out of the heavens in their fear-mongering. But see, you never know with a hurricane. You just never know. So you have to think safety, especially after going through Hugo, because we never left before Hugo. We always stayed home. Just hunkered down and lasted through it. Anyway, Tuesday sat there the whole day and barely any rain at all. Just a sprinkle here and there. No wind, just a light gray cloud covering. And the sunlight not showing up as if it were a blue sky, but bright enough that the sun, you could tell the sun was out behind that thin layer of clouds. So I said, well, I guess it'll really start tonight. Poor Hunter, at the place we were staying, the floors were slick. And his nails have grown, and it's hard to clip them down where they're supposed to be because the quick grew with them. So we've been trimming them back little by little. Anyway, trying to get up was a real chore for him, and he's got very weak back legs. So scrambling up on his 4 feet, I had to straddle him or pick him up in the middle in order for him to get up comfortably, because he just couldn't do it. The floor was too slick. All day Tuesday, like I say. The wind was, it just wasn't any wind. So then went back to bed that night, got up Wednesday morning, same thing. Sky was just a thin layer of clouds. There was a branch outside going like this. That was the wind. And the rain, once again, just a sprinkle every hour or so. Nothing. So about 2 o'clock, I said, I got in touch with some people around here and asked them what the situation was. And my neighbor here had pictures of his front yard, and I could tell from those pictures that my front yard wasn't that bad off. And a friend came down and looked and told me that it was high and dry. So I told my friend, I said, I think I'm going to take Hunter because I'm worried about him. He was very stressed. He wasn't eating. Every time I would take him something in my hand, he would look away like, I don't want to see you. You've ruined my life. So I was concerned about it. Anyway, packed up the car, looked around, thought I had everything, left, got a call on my phone about halfway home, and as we pulled out into the main highway to get to the interstate, it just commenced to pouring. I mean, it was just coming down in buckets. I couldn't believe it. I said, maybe this isn't a good idea, but the storm was supposed to be moving north, maybe slow, but it was still moving, and all those, I can't remember what you call them, cloud covers a circle. I can't remember the name right now because my brain doesn't work well when I'm trying to think quick. Bands, those cloud bands. We're getting further and further away from here, so I said, I think we're safe. This pipe's gurgling. I haven't had a gurgling pipe in quite some time. Anyway, all the way home, it was just like it was when we were going to Goose Creek. It was just pouring down. As they say, cats and dogs. It was just, it was heavy rain. And we were driving through it once again, 30 and a 70-mile-an-hour zone. Everybody was doing it real slow. We got here. I parked out there and I let him out and let him come in, and then walked out there and looked where the water line usually shows when it rises. And the highest water line that was out here was 3 inches. Nothing even close to what they were saying it was going to be. You just don't know who to believe. But once again, I had been praying to the good Lord above. I said, please, please don't let my house, don't let it get flooded, please. And once again, he answered my prayer. And I figured it was going to come up to at least the threshold again, if not higher this time. And I had just had a new dehumidifier installed 2 days prior to this. And I knew that that was going to get flooded and ruined so that it wouldn't work anymore. But no, it was running fine when we came home, just running fine. The water out here under the carport was like just a heavy rain. There was no wind at all. Excuse me. So I don't know. But we've gotten settled back into our routine. He's eating again. He's at least looking at me when I put his food down. He's not turning away from me like, go away. I don't want anything to do with you. Then I checked the weather map, and there's another one out there. already getting ready to. The way it's coming, looks like it's following a similar track to what Debby just went. But this time, I just ordered a large bed that he can at least lie on when he's there, and he should be able to stand up on the bed and then step down onto the floor, because once he was up, he could walk on the floor okay. It was just getting up. So if we're going again, she said, come on. I can pick up my pipe stuff, and I've got the bed that I can put down where he was sleeping, and he can lie down and get up easily on this bed. So that little bit, I hope. Of course, now getting it there is going to be a problem, because I don't know that it's going to fold as too well. Who knows? We'll figure something out. Been through a lot of hurricanes. Never ran from them. Clyde and I used to always ride in them because it was an adventure that two drunks loved. But when Hugo came through, we were all huddled in my house in the hallway, which had the best structure. And if a tree or something fell on it, maybe it wouldn't fall on us. We were lucky because a humongous pine tree fell at a 3/4 angle diagonally across the area that was from the house to the fence. So we were blessed by God that time. My house back in Hugo lost 3 shingles off the roof. This house, Dad and I walked down to it after the storm had gone. Took us an hour and a half to get here, which is like a 5-minute ride in the car, because trees were across the road. There was no way to drive a car down it. And we had to climb over the trees, and it was a mess. I can't keep this one lit either. But anyway, when we got here, they had an oak tree that was right in the middle of the front yard, and it had fallen on the house, and he had to have that fixed. But that was all that had happened here. It did not flood. So, before I got on here, I was looking all over for a write-up that one of the locals put in the paper after Hugo describing the destruction. And I had saved that, and I went through everything I could think of, and I found 3 bags of papers. One was on the Iraqi war that my parents must have saved, and the other was about Nixon resigning. But I could not find that one that I had saved about that had that. It was a perfect description. You knew what had happened here. And I was going to read that to you because it wasn't very long. It was just a short piece, just to show you what the destruction could be like. I don't know. If this one does turn the same path, it looks like this year it's going to be our year. It's nothing to laugh about because those things can be so destructive. But I just thought you might be interested in what had happened and how we got through it. And just how different their description, even while the thing was coming through and they were on TV talking about it in their local spots, wherever they were still talking like it was something was going to really. But downtown didn't flood any more than downtown normally floods when there's a heavy rain. And here, the flooding was, like I say, just 3 inches under the carport, which is just a rainfall. So, who do you believe? When you pray and ask the Lord to keep you from drowning, and then you run away, and it's nothing like you were told, who do you believe, the weatherman or God? It's hard for me sometimes. I don't know how to go about it. Sometimes living ain't easy. But I took the safe decision because I just didn't want to see Hunter swimming out to some spot that might be low enough in water that he could take care of his business, because it just wouldn't be fair to him. So that's why I made my decision to run. Okay, folks. This no story, no nothing. Just me gabbing on about Debby and weathermen and what to believe and what not to believe. And you never know. Take care of yourselves. I hope your weekend is going to be a good one. Ours is supposed to be sunny. Well, actually, they're saying it's going to be raining all weekend, but it hasn't really rained that much and the sun has come out, so I'm hoping they're wrong about that too. God bless you until the next time. Take care. Bye-bye.